Now this is how you update a show. Hey, I'm Emily from MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 Broadway revivals.
I ain't the type that can faint. How can I be what I ain't? I can't say no.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
For this list, we're looking at 10 of the greatest Broadway revivals of all time and ranking them based on popularity and critical acclaim. Let's go!
Wise men never try.
Number 10, South Pacific, 2008 revival.
Some enchanted evening.
The original South Pacific is an untouchable Rodgers and Hammerstein masterpiece. It was lauded for its progressive stance on racial tolerance, winning 10 Tony Awards and the Pulitzer Prize for Drama. And it wasn't like one of those critical darlings that no one saw. It ran for 1,925 performances, making it the second longest running Broadway show of the time. A revival seemed both unwanted and uncalled for, but luckily the 2008 revival did wonderful service to the original, garnering rave reviews and 7 Tony Awards, including the coveted Best Musical Revival.
I'm gonna wash that man right out of my hair and send him on his way. Get the picture?
Everything was meticulous, from the chemistry between the leads to the sumptuous music to the glorious production design. It successfully reinvigorated a classic for 21st century audiences.
Can't let me win one game.
Number 9, Falsettos, 2016 revival.
Sex and games in New York City have gotta be played with flair and passion and flair.
Falsettos originally ran on Broadway between April 1992 and June 1993, earning 7 Tony nominations and 2 wins for Best Book of a Musical and Best Original Score. A revival appeared at the Walter Kerr Theater in September 2016, starring a magnificent Christian Borle as Marvin, a gay man who's caught up in family drama between his male lover, ex-wife, son, and psychiatrist.
Still, it's awfully trying.
And we're not denying
None of all the lesser passions we like fighting most.
The musical beautifully balances tones and musical styles, and it tells a story that's even more pertinent now than it was back in the early 90s. It's a musical that tells a heartfelt and complex story about love, while being gloriously entertaining in the process.
there are no answers, but what would I do if you had not been my friend?
There are no answers, but what would I do?
Number 8. Once on This Island, 2017 revival. 2017 was a fantastic year for Broadway revivals, as we got a fantastic reimagining of both Hello, Dolly and the lesser-known Once on This Island. The latter tells the story of a peasant girl named Timoon who falls for a boy belonging to the island's rival clan. It's basically Romeo and Juliet in the French Antilles, and it is delightful.
I'm here in the field with my feet on the ground and my fate in the air, waiting for life to begin.
Critics were immediately drawn to the show's Caribbean-themed music and the debut performances of the lead performers Haley Kilgore and Isaac Powell.
Some girls you picture, some you hold.
The production design was also singled out, as critics praised the costumes, set design, and inventive visual effects, all of which made the tragedy of the story more palatable and easier to digest.
I had a dream.
Number 7. Gypsy, 2008 revival.
It's gonna come true, baby.
There have been numerous revivals of Gypsy over the years. The original ran from 1959 to 1961, and it's been revived 4 times, in 1974, 1989, 2003, and 2008. It's even been made into 2 films, one from 1962 and another made for TV in 1993 starring Bette Midler. The point is that this story has been endlessly told and retold, and each iteration has its own unique mannerisms and personality. The 2008 revival is arguably the best of the bunch, mainly thanks to a masterful performance from the Tony-winning Patti LuPone, who gave Rose a depth and complexity that few others have perfected.
But some people ain't me.
Unfortunately, this magnificent revival wasn't very popular, and it eventually closed at a loss.
Everything's coming up. Roses for me and for you.
Number 6. Les Misérables, 2014 revival. Les Misérables is the musical to end all musicals. It's been showered with accolades and produced numerous times. Add on the utterly bombastic 2012 film, and you may think that you've seen all there is to see. That may be the case, but the 2014 revival was still a standout. It shrunk the orchestra, removed the classic turntable set, and added several video sequences to make the play more cinematic. It also contained a wonderful star turn for Ramin Karimloo, who made his Broadway debut as Jean Valjean.
Let him live. Bring him home.
Other than that, it was the same old Les Mis, but that's definitely not a bad thing. Number 5. Anything Goes, 2011 revival.
But every night the set that's smartest, intruding and nudist parties in studios. Anything goes.
Anything Goes is one of the all-time classic musicals. It originally played on Broadway back in 1934 and became an instant hit despite running through the Great Depression. It also introduced the world to the song I Get a Kick Out of You, which would later be popularized by Frank Sinatra. It was revived in 1987 and again in 2011, both winning the Tony for Best Revival.
In olden days, a glimpse of stocking was looked on as something shocking, but now God knows anything goes.
The 2011 production was particularly praised, mostly for the opulent and spectacular Sutton Foster, who commanded the stage with charisma, some nice moves, and a booming, brassy voice. It successfully brought vaudevillian wackiness and choreography to the 21st century, and reminded us all of just how much fun the theater can be.
I'm a worthless jack, a total rack, a flop. But if baby I'm the bottom, you're the top.
Number 4. Annie Get Your Gun, 1999 revival.
Still at night, I'm a lucky girl. I got the sun in the morning and the moon at night.
Annie Get Your Gun tells the fictionalized story of world-renowned sharpshooter Annie Oakley, who performed in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show.
You can't get a man with a gun.
It originally played at the Imperial and ran for 1,147 performances before making its way to the West End the following year. It was revived in 1966 and again in 1999, where it played at the Marquee for 1,045 performances.
My defenses are down. I might as well surrender, for the battle can't be won.
The revival made some radical changes, like revising the book, adding new orchestration, dropping songs, adding several dance numbers, and restructuring the musical as a show within a show. While this irritated some Broadway veterans, others admired the fresh take, and the production went on to win the Tonys for Best Revival and Best Actress. Even its critics couldn't help but admire Bernadette Peters' marvelous performance as Annie.
I got the sun in the morning and the moon at night. She's got the sun in the morning and the moon at night.
Number 3. Guys and Dolls, 1992 revival. Everyone loves Guys and Dolls. If you don't, then you can just get the heck out. The show premiered at the 46th Street Theater in 1950 and subsequently ran for 1,200 performances. Along the way, it won the Tony for Best Musical and was selected for the 1951 Pulitzer. It has since seen 3 Broadway revivals, the best being the 1992 production starring Nathan Lane. It was meticulously and stylishly produced, complete with eye-catching set design and striking costumes. And the classic roles of Nathan Detroit and Miss Adelaide were played with aplomb by Lane and Faith Prince. It's a masterpiece of a production that proudly stands alongside the original and the classic 1955 film.
And the devil will drag you under by the fancy time on you. Get close, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. You're rocking the boat.
Number 2, Cabaret, 1998 revival. Cabaret was a huge hit when it first premiered in 1966 at the Broadhurst.
Welcome and bienvenue, welcome. Français, étranger, stranger.
However, things irrevocably changed with the 1993 Donmar Warehouse production. It's here that the character of the MC became sexualized, complete with crotch suspenders and painted nipples, and Cliff's bisexuality was given further depth. The 1998 Broadway revival was based off this production, complete with Alan Cumming reprising his role as the sensual MC. It was a raunchier version, starring Natasha Richardson, who provided Sally Bowles with more vulnerability and desperation than previous actresses.
Maybe this time, for the first time, love won't hurry away.
This arguably became the de facto interpretation of Cabaret, as it won 4 Tony Awards and ran for 2,377 performances, making it the 3rd longest running revival in Broadway history. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Number 1, Chicago, 1996 revival.
Come on, babe, why don't we paint the town and all that jazz?
Chicago is not only the greatest revival of all time, it's arguably one of the greatest musicals, period. The original, titled Chicago: A Musical Vaudeville, ran for 936 performances between 1975 and 77.
Satin spats don't mean a thing. All I care about is love.
It received a mixed reception and performed poorly, especially when compared to A Chorus Line. The show likely would have drifted into obscurity if not for the 1996 revival. This version received far more praise, thanks in part to the O.J. Simpson trial, generated interest in the ensuing Best Picture winning film, and quickly became one of the most popular plays on Broadway. In 2014, it became the 2nd longest running show in Broadway history, with 7,486 performances. It's clear that audiences can't get enough of all that jazz.
Okay, seriously though, I'm probably biased because I played Sally Brown in a production of You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, but that musical is criminally underrated. Like, seriously, go check it out, like, right now.
That's your new philosophy, huh?
Yes! I mean, no. I mean, ring the bell, like, and subscribe to MsMojo.